Okay, so I have my guest with me today, who is Justine Vanderweg from artbehavior.com. And Justine and I go way back. I mean, over 10 years now. We connected initially through the Our Psychic Art website. We've worked together on several different projects and just always stayed in contact and had these I think we've really helped each other with our growth over the years. Our conversations have always been very meaningful and pivotal. So, and then later, quite recently, over the last year or so, Justine and I have begun an amazing project that is huge, that we can't wait to share with you, but we'll talk more of that a bit later on. But Jay is from artbehavior.com. She has just astounded me with her artwork, and creativity and painting is so beautiful and such a unique, wonderful style. I'm blessed to actually have one of her paintings and have had an experience with her where she brought through one of my angels, and it was profound and very meaningful to this day. But I've just been in awe watching her entire journey so far. Has just been amazing. She's just evolving. She's a big thinker. She is so good at what she does, and the proof is in the pudding. You just see everything that her students create, and it's amazing. So I am just honoured to be able to share Jay and her amazing services and journey with you today. Welcome, Justine. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And all those words you've said is a direct mirror of you and how far you've come. So thank you so much.
Definitely. We've been mirroring each other on this journey and learning so much. And yeah, it's so nice to be able to have a beautiful mirror. But tell us a little bit about where you're located right now. Obviously, you have a South African accent. Tell us where you're located and what you're doing with your days at the moment.
So I'm, yes, from South Africa, but we moved here about 16 years ago to the UK. At the moment, we're living in Goring by sea. We absolutely love the ocean. It's just amazing. I've got an amazing, supportive husband and a little daughter of 6 years old. So that's why the beach is so important for us. I currently run an arts college for children and adults, and we teach specific drawing and painting styles and techniques. And then also we have the art behavior program, which is research launched over 20 years ago. So at the moment, because of obviously everyone coming out of COVID, we've been receiving so many traumatized adults and children who just don't want to be put in a box, are not looking for therapy. They're looking for a way to actually access their genius that's already there. And art is a part of that distraction to help them unlock that. And specific programs we use help them actually, take it to the next stage to answer their own questions that they're constantly asking themselves daily. So I'm fully booked in all of that. And we've just launched our training for art coaches to be able to apply this in any business as a tool, so they can actually use this with their clients, whether a teacher, a coach, somebody working as a manager in a position to help other people. So that's my days at the moment.
Yes, you're very, very busy lady with so much that's growing and blooming at the moment. I know I was so excited when you did your Mind, Body, Spirit event up in London. That's a huge, big deal. And watching you thrive there was just amazing. So, yeah, this whole thing behind art behavior is basically 20 years of your research from working with different people and all of your tools and techniques that you have to be able to use creativity to tap into your psychology and your emotions, right?
Yes, it goes a step a bit more deeper, because it's just really understanding how the brain grows and develops, and how to almost give a shock to the brain. It's really basic science, and a lot of us just overcomplicate it. And you can just now see where we are doing too much of something that leads us to have an outcome or an emotion. So we might be doing too much of work that leads us to burnout, or we might be worrying about something and not really knowing how to communicate, that leads us to frustration and shouting, or asking questions over and over and listening to other people, not trusting ourselves, and we feel stuck. And that is just basically overstimulation of the brain. And all these years of 20 years have been tried and tested to use specific art projects. When I say specific art projects, it's understanding the difference between relaxed art and guided art, guided drawing with an outcome. And those two are very similar. So I had the opportunity to work with art therapists, play therapists, psychologists, counselors, and then even just people who are coaches and NLP and teachers, to see what they're doing. And we could find the gap in the industry of where maybe they're possibly introducing their skills and tools a bit too soon, that actually pushes people away from wanting to go for therapy or ask for help. So that was a great learning experience from the clients, to teach me to see where there is their gap, and why they're not always taking up the funding that's there, or people are taking too long to get through to their clients, instead of just understanding, because clients will say what sometimes people want to hear, and they're not breaking through quick enough. So even with children in schools, they're not learning, they're not listening to the teachers. To when you're working with a team, they're always fighting or things like that. And it's just taking what is going on in your mind, putting it down on paper and going, right, this is where the brain is just completely overstimulated. Let's now put this in place so that it can get back into balance, and everybody can work as a team in yourself or with who you're working with.
That's amazing. And I know that you're actually, you're taking this into businesses as well. That is really helping small and large businesses, and obviously helps people within the teams to understand not only their own behaviours, but understand their colleagues just on a deeper level as well. And so using that, I love it, because yes, it's science, and that's spirituality in science. It's it's very thin, fine line, So yeah, I think that's just phenomenal that you're bringing that. And I've always been a person that I love data. I like the fact that this is, based on my experiences with all these individuals, and I've just collected through all of the years this research based on that. Some of my favourite books are, where like a hypnotherapist has just logged the client's information. That's it, and the story. But then, it then becomes a volume of data that you can look at and go, wow, okay, well, there's like patterns and stuff in there I can see. But I mean, that takes a lot of commitment to get that kind of volume, to be able to see those patterns and niches. So that's a real commitment to your journey. So when did and how has your creativity kind of become part of your spiritual journey?
Well, it started from when I was a child, really, because, we, as we know, we choose our experiences before we come here, and we choose our experiences when we're here. So the kind of parents I had, made those choices for me in where we were moving, what we were doing, all those things. And sometimes those choices at those times were quite challenging for me as a child. So I would automatically go and gravitate towards art and find focus in art, especially when there was so much chaos going around me. I really wanted to focus and get some form of structure into my mind, and specific learning how to draw to a dynamic standard of proportion really helped me focus and not get wrapped up in labels and people's emotions and the world out there. So I kind of just really took myself out of the world and found something to rather focus in and put all my emotions into. And that helped me just accept that I'm on this planet, because there were so many questions. And as you know, when you go through puberty, you're asking all those questions. When you're going through hormone changes and you're challenged by your parents' ways of thinking, all of that. So it started basically from the beginning. And I haven't stopped every time, and if I've walked away from it, I've been pushed back into it without me realizing it, because I would say, oh, this is not a proper job, run away from it. And then people will come back and say, oh, I really would love you to do a portrait for me, or I'd really love you to teach me a technique. And then I'd be pulled back into it. So no matter how many times I tried to run away from it, my unconscious just brought me back constantly to, this is helping you just get back on track all the time.
Wonderful. I love that. And I know that you have helped a lot of people to bring through like their spirit guides and angels and things like that. So how did that come about?
Well, I went on my own spiritual journey probably in 2007, where I was questioning everything about belief, religion, science, everything. And I went on my own personal journey, and I went and studied Reiki and angelic Reiki. And there were some things I was quite uncomfortable with, not in the process of teaching, just as in the associations built up around this, what was man-made, like in churches, and what was connecting with intuition and really following your intuition. And then I stumbled across John DeMartini's work, and he started saying that everything that we know about spirituality is not what we're taught now, because if we actually knew the truth out there, we wouldn't be able to cope with it. So it's been such a pull of learning so much about it and understanding both sides, how they both equally serve, and what is that true understanding of spirituality, and how do we really connect with our souls and intuition. So that all started that side there. And I think I remember at one stage I was going through quite a tricky time, coming over here, and I wasn't connecting with my painting side of things. I was connecting, but I wasn't at the same time. And I remember my mom said to me, you've got to go on this lady's retreat. She's painting for 5 days. She's going to get you to break out of painting hard lines and, box paintings, and just go on this woman's retreat. And I remember my back was out. I couldn't stand. I had loads of physical things I was going through as well. And I was either walking on crutches, had the massage machine on the back, and you had to stand and paint for 5 days solid. And it was the best breakthrough ever, because then I sat down, and I actually went and I did my first fairy. And that was like my childhood, just everything in my healing came out in connecting with fairies. And I signed up to a little show that was going on. And I remember this first fairy sold. It was my first fairy. And I was like, oh my word, this fairy painting is sold. This is just amazing. So that was such a huge turning point for me to connect the art and the spirituality and my intuition, but also my human side, because I was discovering that, sometimes you can get too wrapped up in the spiritual world and forget about being the human. So it kind of all collaborated and started forming together to just ground myself on how to connect that side. So now I like teaching people how to connect with their intuitive side and understand how you're learning skills and tools. So like anything, if you're going to drive a car, you're not just going to get in and drive it because you don't know how to work it. You're going to learn all those ways that the car works. Then you start intuitively driving. And that's kind of how I've realized how drawing works with spirit. That, learning how to do something and learning how to master it, they work really well together. Just coming in an intuition kind of sets you up for failure in yourself, and then you question yourself. And I don't believe in failure as it is, but that's kind of how the emotion can lead you to feel by the end of the process if you're not preparing yourself to handle those steps moving forward.
Yeah. Girl, you made me tear up there. What a beautiful journey, and I love that, leading us back to being human, and all of it, just all of these different things coming together for your human experience, and this is it. It's bringing all of your experiences and your skills together. So yeah, and I have got, because Justine did make this fairy oracle deck. They're adorable, like little mini cards that you can just easily put in your purse. I've actually got mine, but they're in the barn at the moment. And the paintings are just amazing. They really are just really, really special. And yeah, Dr. Di Martini was, you introduced me to him, and that was a game changer, definitely. If that name pricks up your ears in any way, I encourage you to go Google him. So who or what have been your biggest artistic influences?
Well, the first one is definitely my mother. She gave me the foundation to learn how to draw, but also how to break the rules in drawing. And I'm very grateful to her for showing me those techniques on, if the world says do something some way, she taught us how to find a way. And I really appreciate that side of my learning. And the other one is a very well-known oil painter, top 5 oil painter in South Africa. He's recently passed over now, and his name was Reino Swart. And he just had this amazing knowledge and skill of understanding how oil paint works and how to get the shapes and the forms. And I remember I used to be so frustrated with him because he'd make you sit and observe for 15 minutes and you weren't allowed to paint. And he taught you to slow down so much that you'd be pulling your hair out. But that actually made me speed up in all my painting and all my artwork that I do now. So his influence was so important. And it was important that I also paid for his tuition, because then when you pay attention. So I really, really invested in that time and the tuition so that I could just help myself to take it to that next level.
Yeah. I think some of us miss that, we expect so much of ourselves, and just getting a really good guide or tutor, it can be a huge game changer, whether you're doing it, you want to do it more intuitively or not. Just having that technical knowledge is so useful. And I like you because my dad is one of my greatest inspirers, and has given me so many nuggets over the many years that have really, really helped also with my creativity. And he's also a very out of the box kind of person as well. And just even learning, he's been, how it is with parents, you want to be them, don't you? And then it's actually what is my style, and then you explore, but you've got all that foundation that they gave you, and it's wonderful. And he still inspires me now, and he still gives me so many nuggets of wisdom that really, really help. I mean, I feel lucky to have that.
I just want to add to what you're saying. The other people that I do acknowledge are the people who actually really challenged me.
Yeah.
Because had they not believed in me, I would not have had the drive to find a way. And the people who said it would never happen, I'm very grateful to those people. Because the people who really peed me off were the ones who kicked the spark in my butt to get up and go, I'm not going to give up. And the people who supported me, I started becoming a bit relaxed and maybe not pushing myself as much, things like that. So there's quite a few people on that list. And I'm very grateful to them. It's I don't have any anger towards them. I'm very grateful that they crossed my path at that time. So that's the other part as well.
Yeah, where everybody is guiding us towards what we're meant to be doing. How important do you feel art is to our society?
Oh, where do I even begin? All I can go on is what I'm witnessing now. When I started actually setting up my own arts college in 2014, back then art was still in schools and children were doing it about maybe once a week, if that. Now there's no art at all. There's no creativity. In the private school, there is creativity. And I can see how people are emotionally not knowing how to cope. They don't know tools to process their emotions. They're not letting out their frustration. It's a part of us that we're trying to get rid of, which we just can't. So it's like saying, well, I only have my left brain, but I'll leave my right brain behind. And it just doesn't work. The more we try and avoid it, the more people are having breakdowns. So, I mean, I paint and draw every day. Whether it's demoing for somebody, whether it's doing my own painting, I'm human. I stuff up, I get back up, I cry, I have, stuff that I go through. And when people come in and they're about to give up, I go, sit down, do your art. And then they walk out and they go, I don't know why I was even allowing myself to think that or go to that place. So I think it should be a necessity on the curriculum of life skill. That's what, but not just only art, drawing, music, dancing, creativity in baking, gardening, all the unknown ones that we have in creativity that we just don't acknowledge. And teachers are not skilled in teaching art anymore. You hear art teachers just putting up a YouTube video and kids have to watch it and follow it. So because everyone's pushing academic. I'm not saying academic's not important. It has its place, but I don't think it's equal.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And having it, because even back in my day, I felt very limited with school, even though I could choose art for GCSE. I still had to choose what I had to do, graphic art only, and I hadn't played enough. I didn't know what do you want to do? So I wasn't great at graphic art at that time, and lost my love for the creativity. I felt like I wasn't that great and stepped away from it for a long time until Spirit brought me back to it. Hey, here's some pencils and a piece of paper. And it was just scribbles. But there was something, it was just like the emotions, the feelings, the ability to just put everything down and focus on that one thing and work through and process, just with the scribbles. And it was so simple and has been for many, many years. It was just very abstract, very simple, but it was just healing, this moment where I could step out, not in an escape, because I was very conscious. I'm integrating, working through things as I'm there, but not getting lost in them. And just not having that pressure to create a masterpiece every time. Just play.
And also, to add to what you're saying, I've noticed in school we learn, we pass or fail, good, bad, right, and wrong. So we learn all those habits. And they're not necessarily bad, but if you don't have something to counterbalance it, to understand it and unravel the habit emotionally, then you live those labels. So with the creative process, even exercise, all these kinds of things that you have that access, you push yourself a little bit harder, you break those rules, you take a step out into that unravels the good, bad, right, wrong, pass and fail. Because then you go, well, okay, I've got that as a foundation. Let's just test it and see, how far I can push myself. So I'm just noticing people are living these labels that they are putting on themselves, which is completely false, because they're not doing a form of creativity to understand that they're not those labels. And that's a big thing I've noticed definitely in the research.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me one of your techniques for overcoming creative blocks.
Okay, so what I believe is when you're going to look to learn something, especially in art, we either, if you get to a teacher who says just draw what you see, that's going to get you very frustrated. And I believe very much in learning how the formula works first before you go and explore further and take yourself and push yourself out your comfort zone. So for instance, if you look at dance, you learn a natural formula before you become creative with it. With baking, with music, you've got to learn how to read music. All these areas have a natural formula before you apply and break the rules. Even in maths and science, all these areas. So it's the same with art. Find tutors that you can learn the foundation and the formula, how it works first, then go and explore with it, because you'll be confident to not make mistakes, to try here and there, to see, if I mix this and that, what happens? And I won't fail. You won't have that mindset of failure. So that definitely, I would say, is very important. If you're not getting that formula, handheld step-by-step process to help you understand the medium, then it's not working for you, and don't try and force yourself to complete it. The other thing is practice. If you're only doing it once a week or once every 2 weeks, like anything, you're not going to get it. Your brain needs time to repeat a new habit so that it sinks in. So like anything, when you start a new role in your job, it's overwhelming, it's unsettling, and then 3 months down the line, you know what to do and you know the process. So it's the same thing in everything. And I'm working with people in their works, in their jobs, in their businesses, who are forgetting that they're starting something new and they expect themselves to get it right at the first day. So when I do this process with them in the art, they then give themselves the opportunity to let it sink in, so they can then explore techniques to break the rules and find different solutions in their work industry of what they're doing.
Yeah. I love that. And that makes complete sense about the art formula as well, that we are given it in so many other areas, but we're not necessarily getting it for painting and drawing and stuff. So and it is important. So it's something that I haven't always invested in myself. I think maybe because I do have a very creative father that has helped me a lot. But, I've always said, I can't do people or animals. I'm really good with geometries and lines and patterns and things like that. But it's not a natural thing. But I actually don't have that knowledge either. I've never been tutored through it. So, yeah, of course. So, if something is important to you and you really do want to learn those skills, then, it is so important to get that mentorship and guidance, and it will definitely help you break through. So I just want to know, let this audience know how we can support your growth right now.
When you say growth, is it knowing, getting me out there?
What would be helpful? Where do you want people to go look? What would be helpful?
So it's more, I think, that I want to serve people more. And it's if you can spread the word, because I know this works. It's tried and tested for over 20 years. And anybody who says to me, there's no way you haven't tried it here, I have a case study for. I've seen the impacts, I've seen the changes. And, if you're a business, if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, if you are working on your personal journey, I'd like you to join the program and see how you can serve other people more, whether it's growing in your next level, whatever that is. We've got hubs that we're actually setting up now for people to join, that they can just sign into. We're creating an app that people can sign into. So yeah, it's just, I suppose, share and let other people know the experiences and try it out yourself.
Yeah, I highly recommend. If you're not getting this through this video, let me assure you what an amazing tutor Justine really is, and she's got your back from all angles. So please do go over to artbehaviour.com, find Art Behaviour on social media. A like and a share goes a long way. Subscribe to the site for her updates and find out exactly what's going on. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Justine. It's been really, I've known you all this time, but it still never gets dull. And I always learn something new about you and your journey. And I really appreciate you coming and sharing with us today, and look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thank you for connecting, and whatever you do, the journey you've done and so much work you've done. I've loved the mandala mugs and the gift sets. And I'd say, I know how much time and effort you spend on that. And I say, if you're investing in purchasing one of those, it's definitely an investment, because it's so wholeheartedly painted from the heart. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's they're launching next week on the website, so they should be a regular thing there now. And it's just another way that we can get the good vibes out into the world and do what I love.
Your coffee will certainly taste different drinking from there.
Yeah, they really are designed as it's an experience that's all set up for you to have there, and it's more than just a mug. So thank you for being tuned in here with us today. Please stay tuned for more Alchemy of Art conversations, where I'm talking to people about how their creativity and spirituality has become one and the same. And thank you for being here with us today.